Yada yada. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm going to teach on the what's called EX series today. That includes the marquee, grand marquee, aria. This is also applicable to if you have an EY uh, with a USB. So more like the Inspire or Rialto. And if you have anything other than that, like an A series instrument, you know, Prestige, Sterling, Patriot, Liberty, Imperial, if you have anything like that, this will apply as well. I will go into something called MP3s. So it'll be a little bit different there, but I'll explain the difference. So today I'm going to talk about recording. And recording is super important, super fun. People ask all the time, "Oh, I wish I knew how to do that," because I would, but I don't know how. Because when you're looking at the manual, it looks sometimes when you're just looking at something, it looks almost like a different language. Like, what are they even talking about? So I'm going to dissect that a little bit. Before I get started, though, I'm just going to play a song, just kind of check the sound, and just get in the music for mood. The mood for music, yes. Okay, so let's do some Frank Sinatra here. Or actually, this particular version, this is going to be I Got the World on a String. And it's this version that you'll hear that came out on the marquee. The style that I'm using is called Got Swing. And it's kind of more the Michael Bublé version of the song. So here's that.
Way to go, Sean.
Thanks. Don't forget your applause button. It really helps when you got nobody in the room with you. So, all right. And you may be wondering, why do you have a TV right in front of you? Well, I think I might use it at some point. So let's start. Like I said, today we're going to talk about recording yourselves here. And I'll just ask a question and you can feel free to answer if you have an answer. Why would someone want to record? Why would you record anything you do?
I can answer.
All right, Ken.
I've done about 70 songs now, maybe a few more.
Okay.
And I record some, and I've even sang over the top of them.
Oh, wow. And why do you
And
do that?
I learned how to put the title of the song or anything about it in the MP3 recording by hitting a no chord first and then saying what you wanted to say, and it records it before the song.
I appreciate that. That works. Any other answers?
To share with someone.
To share with someone. That's a great answer. Claire, did you have one too?
Yeah, I was going to say, so you can see if you're playing well.
Oh, that is a perfect answer. I'm going to go with all three of those answers here. Uh, yeah, the best reasons, yeah, so somebody can hear you. You may not think that you're a, talented musical artist, right? You might say it's just a hobby. I'm not going to record myself, but you may not have any idea what it means for your child or grandchild to hear you play, whether there's mistakes or not. They're just happy to hear mom, hear grandma, hear grandpa. It doesn't matter if there's mistakes. It means something to them, and therefore it can mean something to you as well to do that for them, to bring them that joy of hearing you. Whether,
Here's
like I said,
here's here's another thing that you can do is
okay,
that you can buy for about $70. You can get an MP3 player, which is just a little box. It'll hold maybe a couple of thousand songs, and then you can get a real simple uh, speaker. And I take my speaker and about 60 or 70 songs, and I put it in my golf cart when I go any place.
well, there you
So
go.
I
Yeah,
get
you
the
can.
music to go with me.
There you go. You can bring yourself with you. Yeah, you can listen to yourself anytime. So I'm not going to get too much into that part of it, but let's talk more about recording yourselves for either the first reason, like we said, was to just listen back or to give to your family, things like that. But also, I think, who was it, Claire? I think you might have said, uh, also for learning purposes. It's a great reason to record yourself because then you can see, like you said, what mistakes you're making, or, you can just, you can even do this. You could, for example, record the left hand only and then practice your right hand along with what you recorded afterward. So that's just another way you can kind of use it for rehearsal. So, all right, let's begin here. So, we're going to talk about on these EX series the two different ways. There's two different ways to record music on here. And I'll tell you the first way. You can write this down if you want. So, the first way is called a Lowrey file. It's a specific type of file on your computer that computers read, and this here is a computer. So it reads what's called a Lowrey file, just like you have a PDF file or a MP3 file, and that would be our second way is MP3, okay? So on these instruments, we can record either as a Lowrey file or Lowrey recording or an MP3. Well, what in the world is the difference? Well, the Lowrey file you can only use on this, okay? But there are good reasons for that too, so I'll get into that. So let's kind of start here. I'm going to turn this thing on so you can kind of see what I'm looking at here. It's kind of hard to see this, so I'm just going to put that up here. This episode brought to you by Vizio. Just kidding, not a sponsor. But you'll see on the left side of the screen, one of those buttons says USB. Well, we're not going to use that too much, actually. But first, we're going to talk about how do we record. Let's see. What do I need to record? Does anybody know I need something special? Do I need anything? I need one of these.
A
Yeah,
stick.
a stick, a USB stick.
Stick.
And according to our students, there are apparently a lot of spellings of that. I would say USB. We have some that say SUB stick, UBS stick. It is, in fact, USB. Now I'm messing myself up. But it's a USB, Universal Serial Bus, I think, something like that.
Or, no,
Doesn't matter what it means. It's a USB stick in it. That's where you record all your stuff. So I need a USB, and they look something like this. I would almost guarantee that most of you have something like this. Does that look familiar? This one is brand new. I've never used it. Still smells like Indonesia. So I just took it out of the box, and there's nothing on it. So I'm going to use that for today. And what do you do? What do you do with this? Do you know where to put it? I think most of you do. Let me show this here so you can kind of see a little bit closer. Because my internet's not the best still. Let me click on that. Right there. So that's what your instrument kind of looks like, sort of black and white there, a cartoon version. And on the bottom left, you have a little drawer. You pull out your drawer, and you put the USB in the hole. Easy as that. And some people say, well, which way do I put it, this way or that way? You press it in until it fits. If it's the wrong way, it won't go in. So just flip it over if it's not going in, and it should slide right in there. So I've got my USB in. That's the easiest part here. So that's step one, insert USB. And the first type of recording we're going to talk about is a Lowrey file. That's recording to your USB with only a file type that Lowrys can read, which means I can't take it out and put it in, my stereo and listen to it. It's just for the instruments here. And like we said, a good purpose for that would be, something like for educational purposes or for learning. But let's do this here. Let me show you another picture here. This section of the instrument we're going to be using, let's see, does that show there on the bottom right? Okay. It's on the bottom right of your instruments if you have an EX series. If you have an EY, it's going to be right above your keyboard. Okay. So this area right down here is the area we're going to use. And it says music recorder. So if you have an A series, it might be in a different spot. It's probably up here. So it'll say music recorder. Look for that. Music recorder. Okay? So that's the first one we're going to talk about today. So let's talk about how to do it now. First thing you want to do. What's the first thing you want to do before you record something?
Set up the organ.
Oh my gosh, who was that? Is that Carolyn? No?
No, well, I was going to say the same thing, set up your organ.
Perfect. Well, you guys got it. Correct answer. Ding, ding, ding. I think a lot of people do that, even when saving presets, things like that. They'll say, okay. They turn on the instrument and start hitting memorize or record, and they're like, wait, I should probably set it up first. Yeah. So you'll want to do that. So I'm just going to pick a random tune here to play. I'm going to switch it so you see the other side of the screen with me. So this is what I'm looking at right now. Woo! There we go. And I'm going to go to page 1. I'm going to use this rhythm style called Beyond a Sea. Any idea what song I might want to play? None whatsoever. All right. Well, it's called Beyond the Sea. It's a movie by Baby Darren. Just kidding. It's Bobby Darren. Okay. So I'm going to play Beyond the Sea, and I want to record it. So I'm going to set it up just the way I like it, turn on my introduction, keep it simple, and here we go. Let's record. So what am I going to press here? What's the first button I press? Do we know? Let me see if I can pull this up for you to see. Close out of that. Close out of that.
Good.
Okay. Oh, you got it. All right. So let me show you a picture of what that area on your instrument looks like. It looks like that. And that's what that tiny hand is touching. Record. So that's going to be the first button you want to press. You get your instrument ready to go. You get your song ready. Turn on the rhythm and all that. And when you're ready to record, you touch record. So number 1, record. So I'm touching that right now. Ooh, you hear that? What's that called?
Wait.
It's called a metronome. I'll tell you that. So what it's doing, it's getting you ready. I'm going to hit stop so it doesn't get annoying. But when you touch the record button as a Lowrey file, what it does is it gets everything ready to go. It doesn't start right away. It turns on a metronome. And on the screen here, it tells me, oh, where do you want to put it? That's if you have other recordings. You can pick a slot that works, but obviously I don't need to look anywhere. I just touch number 1, and then I'm good to go. So I'm going to touch that record button again, and you'll hear that metronome kind of getting me ready. And I can do 2 things. I can just play, and it'll start recording right when I play. Or I can touch the play button if I want to have some space beforehand. Maybe play the right hand only before you start the rhythm. That's if I touch the play button. So you either play or touch play, and it'll start recording. So record, step 1. You'll find a spot you want to put it. I'm just going to keep it in number 1. And now, instead of hitting the play button, I'm just going to play. So let's listen to Beyond the Sea by Bubby Darin.
Stop.
There you go. You hit the stop button when you're done, right? So what's going to happen is you record your song. Oh, look, there's something there now. Song 001. But that's not the name of it, is it? I might have to change that. So super simple. You touch record, you play, you hit stop when you're done. So who knew it could be so easy? So that's just, in a nutshell, the easiest way to do it. The reason it does that metronome at the end is if you want to add anything before you stop playing, you might want to add, maybe a sound effect or something like that. You can do that. And then hit stop when you are finished. So what's cool about this style of recording, I'm already done. It's saved to my USB. I don't have to do anything. But what's nice is I can use this area down here that I was using, that music recorder over here. I can kind of use that as a player as well. So all I do is I touch, I'll ask you. Does anybody know what? Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it in a second. Does anybody know what button I hit if I want to play the song back?
Play.
I read somebody's lips there. Who's that? Is that
Play.
Janet? Yeah. Play. Yes, you hit play if you want to listen to it. Claire, did you have a question? I'm going to hit unmute for you, so it should ask you on there to unmute yourself if you want to ask something.
Yes, are you going to tell us how to rename that song?
You bet.
Okay.
You bet. I'm going to talk
So
way
later.
too much during
Okay.
this class. I'm going to give you
Okay.
too much
Thank you.
information.
Thank you. Thank you.
But if I do miss anything later on, let me know and I'll jump back in there. So, okay. Yes, I'll talk about that for a second here. Stan, did you have a question before I move on?
Do these sticks need to be formatted?
You shouldn't have to do anything like that, but it might be a good idea. Yeah, just when you put a new one in, hit the format button. It's in your feature menu or USB menu.
Nope.
Anytime you touch USB on the screen here too, it gives you all these different kind of editing options or, advanced features here, which I'll talk about in a minute here. But yeah, you can touch that format device if you think there's stuff on it that you don't want there or that might get in the way. But usually when you buy a brand new USB from the store, you don't have to do anything. I didn't do anything to this one and it works fine. So up to you. But usually you want to do that if you've used the stick a lot for other things, pictures, movies, and software things, but mostly you probably don't do that, so you probably don't need to change anything. So anyway, so let's talk about this here. When I play back the song, this is really cool. It plays back on a Lowrey, so it actually does everything for you that you just did. So when I touch the play button, it'll bring up my rhythm style. It'll bring up the sounds that I was using physically on the instrument, and the tempo is set, all that stuff. And while it's playing, this is cool. You can change anything if you want to hear it differently. So let's touch the play button. Now here's what's cool is I can do a lot with this. I can use it to practice too. I can turn off my accompaniment or my upper keyboard. Now it's not playing. And I can turn it back on anytime. So I can play along with it. So kind of gives you a lot of things you can do with it as far as practicing goes. You can watch it. You can, like you said earlier, see what mistakes you might have made. Things like that. If you want to stop it, just hit stop, and it stops. So it's really a useful way to kind of practice. It's a good practicing type method, is to record as a Lowrey file. But just keep in mind, when you record it that way, you can't just put it in your car and play it. It won't do it. Okay?
Sean,
Yes, ma'am?
how did you get that keyboard up on your screen?
I was hoping somebody would ask that.
Well, I did it.
Thank you, Pat. So
You're
on the
welcome.
bottom left here, oh, I can't, I gotta bend backwards and not fall back, but
Okay,
on the bottom left, you have what are called custom buttons.
right.
They're called custom because you can make them do anything you want. But what's nice is right when you get the instrument, if you touch number 5,
Okay.
number 5, it'll bring up
Yep.
what's called the keyboard screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's also in your feature menu if you need it. If you can't find the button, let's see, keyboard screen, there it is. Page 7 on your feature menu, keyboard screen.
Thank you.
And it just brings that up. Yep. And this works too if you get USBs from, one of those famous people like, Robert or Joni or Marco Mendez, things like that. If they give you a USB, if you touch number 5 or look at the keyboard screen, you can watch them play it, even play along with them. You can speed them up and slow them down. That tempo, see on the left there? I can change that while it's playing if I want. I could even lock it in so it doesn't change back, So that's kind of recording as a Lowrey file in a nutshell here. Let's talk about how to do a couple extra things moving forward with that. We talked about how do we change the name. Remember, it came up as Song 1. And here's another question. How do I just bring up this screen that I'm looking at here? What I usually do, let me show you that picture again here. Anytime I want to bring up that screen, but I don't want anything to play or record yet. I just want to look at what's on there. I don't touch those buttons. I'll show you. Let me get my blue pen here. I touch the French fry button. It's got a little skip button, skip forward. What that does is it just brings up all your recordings on the screen. It won't start playing anything or recording. It doesn't actually mean French fry. I was just kidding. It means, I think, fast forward. But I call it the French fry button. I don't know why. But if you click that, it just brings everything up on the screen for you to look at, and it doesn't start doing anything here. So if you want to just look at what you have, do that. If you say, oh, I want to change one of those. I don't like that name. I don't want to call it that. I want to call it Beyond the Sea. Well, I go to my touch screen, and you have a button called USB, and that's what I said earlier. That kind of gives you all those extra features. So this is your music recorder down here. You want anything extra, it's on the screen. So I'm going to touch USB, and it gives you all this junk, all this stuff here. So if I want to rename a song, which button do you think I press?
Rename song.
Rename song. I was going to wait all day until somebody found it there. Seems easy enough, right? If I want to delete a song, I click delete a song. These are probably the only ones you're going to use as far as your recordings go. And as far as setups go, you'll probably just use this side here. So if you're making presets and setups and saving your work, I think Robert or somebody might have talked about that last week. We'll talk about that again another time, but let's just talk about the songs and recording. So rename, I'm going to touch that. Which song do I want to rename? Well, I only have one. If I had more, it would list all of them out here. So I'm going to rename Song 1. And here's the yucky part that nobody likes. I like it. It's kind of fun. So you see this little underline here underneath the letter S? It's kind of blurry probably because my internet's not great, but do you see that? I see somebody nodding. That's good. Okay. So the letter S here is what I'm going to change first. So what do I want to make it? I'm going to make it an uppercase letter. So I touch that. And then I use my up and down arrows over here and scroll through the alphabet until I get to the letter B. I don't want to call this bong number 1. I'm going to call it beyond the sea here. So I move my space over with this little arrow here. You see these arrows on the left and right? Well, when I touch that, it moves that underline here. So that's the next letter I'm going to change. So I don't want to get the kids excited, so I'm not going to call it bong number 1. I'm going to call it beyond the sea. Let's go to the letter E. Next letter, Y. Next letter, O. And you get the idea. I move it over and it names the next letter. If I want a lowercase letter, you touch that. If I want a number or a symbol, maybe you want the and symbol or something like that, you can find it in here somewhere. There it is, you know. But I'm just going to leave it at that for now so you know what I'm doing here. When I'm done, pretend it says beyond the sea. I'm just going to hit rename on the bottom there. And it's done. Look, beyond the sea. Wow. Okay.
Use QWERTY.
What's that?
You should have used the keyboard, QWERTY.
I wish I could, you know. If you have an aria, like Al, you'd have that. If you have an aria, it makes it a lot easier because you actually have on the bottom of your screen right here,
You didn't have that.
Yeah.
you have what's called a keyboard. Was there a ghost behind me a minute ago? I thought I saw somebody. I don't know. It's creepy here in Mesa, ghost town. All right. I thought I saw it again. All right. So, yeah. So on the bottom, if you have an aria, you can turn this whole thing into a keyboard, just like you have at home or at your computer there. And it makes it a little easier. You don't have to do each letter one at a time. You just type. So that is how, in a nutshell, how to record as a Lowrey file. And the last thing is if you do want to delete it, touch delete, and it goes away. So I'm just going to leave it for now. I might use it again in a little bit. So moving forward, let's do the second type of recording here. Before I move on, any questions on recording as the Lowrey file? So not MP3 or CD, anything like that, just how Lowrey files work? That did look easy, didn't it? Not too hard?
There's one other thing that you can do to rename them. Just put that stick into the computer and do it in the computer.
I will get to that too. Yeah, because you can do that with the MP3s as well.
Right.
Good point. Yep. So,
Either one. You can.
So you could do that several different ways here, but I'll get to that a little later, Ken, for you.
Looks like Gail has a question.
Gail, you got a question. Go ahead, Gail. You know what? Just say nothing, Gail. All right. So next, I'm going to talk about recording as an MP3. And I'm just kidding, Gail. If you get your audio working, you can feel free to chime in whenever. Let's talk about MP3s. Well, what in the world is that? I don't know either, but it sounds great. So what it is it's an audio file. So not a Lowrey file. It's an actual audio file type. That computers can play, your car can probably play, things like that. It records only the audio. So it will not record all those buttons like the other one did. When you record as an MP3, it won't bring up the rhythm that you used in the sound. You'll hear it. It's just like putting a tape recorder up to what you're playing. So then you get to keep that later. So if you record as an MP3 on your USB here, you know, then you can take that, put it in your computer. You can email it to friends and relatives. I had somebody actually, when this machine first came out, the Marquee, I had a student that bought it specifically for that purpose because they have their grandchildren in whatever state it was, I think Michigan or something like that. And she said, I never get out there. They never come here, but they always say, I want to listen to you play, Mom. I want to hear you. And she didn't want to record on a whole CD and try to, ship a CD to them and stuff like that. So what she did is got one of these, well, for other reasons too, of course, because it's a good machine to have. But she wanted to record as an MP3, which means she could just record it, put it in her computer, and hit email, and she can send it to whoever she wants. And she doesn't have to do a whole CD. You could just do one song, your favorite song, and send it to everybody and say, look what I can do, So that's the benefit of recording as an MP3, and there's a lot of other ones we'll go through, but the difference here, let's see if Gail can get her. Gail, are you there? Did you have a question?
Yeah, I had to switch computers. I had no microphone.
Oh.
Sorry, Sean.
That's okay.
Can you just again repeat, if you record yourself, and I think you alluded to this, if you just want to play the chords while listening to the recording, or you just want to play the right hand and the recording is playing the chords for you, could you just go over that again?
Perfect. So if you record, you can record, just like, for example, let's say you recorded the song with both the melody on your right hand and the chords on your left hand, but you kind of want to play the right hand on your own and you want to turn your right hand off on the recording. You can do that, and that's if you touch this button on the right here. Let me do this, where it says upper.
Yep.
When you hit the play button on the song here, let's say you press this, when you hit the play button after you record, both accompaniment here and upper are going to be lit because they're both playing. It's playing the left hand and the right hand. If you want to turn one of those off, you just turn it off because the light will be on both of these. If you want to turn off the upper keyboard, just turn that off and you can play it yourself. Your left hand will keep going.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, or like I said before too, if maybe you don't know the song that well and you want to use this for learning, you can just record the left hand on its own and not even do the right hand. Just count out the measures, G for 2 measures, C for 2 measures. Just play it as is with your left hand, hit the record button, and then afterward, just play the right hand. You could even, I think, record the right hand afterward so people think, wow, you did a perfect job playing that. And you could say, well, I did one hand at a time,
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's go back to MP3s. This is cool. You only have to press one button to record as an MP3 versus the Lowrey file we were talking about. Does anybody know what button I will press?
Audio.
Audio, because that's what we want. We want to record not as a Lowrey file here, but we're recording as an audio file. So let me show that same picture again here, because you should all have something that looks like that. So before I do anything, well, I set up my song. Okay, let's set up a new song. I'm going to play something different here. And then what I'm going to do is touch that button that says audio. And what that's going to do is on my screen here, it's going to bring up a blank screen because I have absolutely nothing recorded. You can't quite see it, but on the left side, it kind of gives you a little status thing here. So let me actually bring up the left side this time so you can kind of see that. No. Yes. It looks like that on the left side. So what it's doing is it's kind of getting it ready. This is if you have an A series or, Prestige, Sterling, Patriot, Marquis, or this is a Marquis, Liberty. So if you have anything like that, or Imperial, this is exactly like recording to the CD, except we press audio and it does it on the USB, but it's going to be what's called an MP3. a lot of shortened terms. MP3s on the USB. So we're going to record as an MP3 touching audio, and it brings up this screen here. And all I do the same thing I did before. I get my song ready, and then I touch the button that says record. And look on the screen here, that changed. Now it says preparing to record. And what I do now, rather than start playing like I did before, this time I have to hit play on the bottom right here. So whenever you're ready, you can't quite see it, but these buttons here are blinking because it's preparing, it's getting ready. And all I gotta do is say I'm ready to play and hit play. And what it's gonna do, it starts recording. So you wanna hit play and then start your song here. So let me do this, and I'll do that for you right now. I'll switch to this so you don't get bored. You don't want to see my face that long. So let's go to this, and I'm going to hit the play button on the right, and then I'm going to start playing. So watch this here. I'm going to hit play. Now it's going to keep saying recording until afterward I hit stop. Okay? Does that make sense, everything I did there? Touch audio. You can set up your song. Hit the record button, step 2. And then when you're ready to go, touch the play button, and you play the song. And then the last button is you hit stop afterward. Does that make sense? Does everybody have that written down if you want to try that? Any questions about that operation before I move on? I got some more stuff, but I just want to make sure that part makes sense to you guys. It's easier than it sounds. It sounds like a bunch of steps. Audio, record, play, stop. But that's basically it. Right there. Four buttons. One after the other. Do you have something, Michael?
Yes. Can you also, does that include putting on an ending?
Yeah, like I did at the end of the song, I pushed ending, and it doesn't stop recording or anything. Right when I hit ending, it'll keep playing until the song's over, and it'll keep recording until you touch the stop button. So you can
So
still
everything
put sound
including
effects
your
and
fill
noises.
and stuff like that.
Yep, it records exactly what you're hearing. Now, some other things that I should mention too is when you record as an audio file, this is really important. You'll want to write this down. If you record like that, you want it to be loud enough. So what you have to do is that foot pedal down there. I don't think you can see it from here. You can see my coffee, though. I should have some. But there's a foot pedal down there, and you want to push that all the way forward, because that's the volume it's going to record at. Because if you want to record it softer, you can pull it back a little bit, but generally for this, you want it to be as loud as possible for people to hear it nice and clear. And when you push that all the way forward, it's going to be perfect volume. Now what happens is some people put that all the way up, and this is still up, so it's going to be really loud. So make sure your foot all the way up, and your master volume over here, turn that down. Mine's at 3 red lights. So foot volume up, master volume down. because it's not recording this master volume. There's some people that don't know, but this master volume only controls the speakers coming out toward you. So you could even push the volume pedal all the way up, turn this all the way down, and you can't even hear it, but it's still recording what you're playing. So I push the volume up on the foot, master down. Make sure you
Question.
got that written down. All right, Carolyn, let's have it. What you got?
Okay. When you're saying, put the sound, the master volume, when you want to do that before you start, when you're doing your setup, in other words, you're
Correct.
master down.
Correct. Correct. That's something you want to start with. I
Start
probably
with,
should have
okay.
started with it, but I didn't want to be too boring, so I figured I'd add it afterward. But yeah, before you start, set up your song, get everything ready to go. Turn your volume down here, your foot pedal all the way up. Maybe test out just to make sure
Yeah.
you can hear it still.
Okay.
And then when you're ready to record, then you do what I said, audio, record, the play button. So, good
Thank
question.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Carolyn. Of course.
I have a
How
question.
do you rename? We're naming the song now.
What's that? How do you rename it?
How are you going to name the song now?
Ooh, good question. I'll show you. So first, let's look at this. I've got two different. Oh, I gotta change my screen again here, so you can see on the right side. Whoopsie. There we go. So when I touch the audio button, now it gives me a new screen. It doesn't say Beyond the Sea because that's recorded as a Lowrey file. This is a separate category here. This is my MP3 list, and there's only one. It says Lowrey Audio 001. So that's my song. Does anybody know the name of the song I just played?
Southern Nights.
Southern
Southern
Nights. Southern Nights.
Yeah.
Now that was the version
Campbell.
that was playing there was Glenn Campbell's. The original is really good too. It's by Alan Toussaint. I think he passed away recently as well, but he's got some really good stuff too. But it just calls it Lowrey Audio 1. And what you want to do with this, since most of the time with an MP3 you're going to be using it for other things, you put it in the computer usually afterward. You put it in the computer if you want to rename it. That's the easiest way. And as far as I can tell, I think the only way, unless somebody can correct me on that. But you want to rename them in the computer anyway most of the time, because that's what you're going to do with it afterward, is send it to somebody, or have all your songs alphabetized if you want, if you record more than one. But so right now it just says Lowrey Audio 001, and when I play this back, hopefully it's not too loud. Let's see. There we go. But notice none of my buttons are on. I can't change that. I can't take the top off. The upper. It's for listening. That's what it's for. It's for listening to the audio. You can still play along with it if you want to. But what you mostly want to do, that's usually for if you want to kind of have an encapsulated version of the song, something recorded for life. If
Gail
you want to
has a
delete
question.
it, if you want to delete it, you also do that from the computer as well. Let's see, Gail, do you have a question?
When you record, does the same procedure apply when you're recording for Lowrey, that you turn down the master volume and keep?
No, that one you don't have to, because that one records just as all these buttons. It records all the buttons you have pressed, so depending on where you have the foot, it doesn't matter, because you can still change that while you're listening.
Oh, okay.
It won't make a difference.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's just the audio, because like I said, imagine taking a tape recorder and just putting it up to the machine. That's what that audio button's doing. So you want to make sure the volume's loud enough for that tape recorder, which is inside basically that button.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Sean?
welcome. Yep,
Sean,
Rich.
are you going to show how to convert ones that you've already recorded?
Uh-huh.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Like I said, I'm going to talk way too much, so I'm going to try to
Well, I
not
got
be too.
company coming in, and I might have to quit, so.
Oh, I'll hurry. Oh, hurry. Okay,
No,
Rich,
I'll,
go
I'll
ahead.
watch it later tonight.
Okay, Rich, go ahead. Do you have a question?
The first one on the USB stick on the Lowrey format, and now this one is an MP3 format. Are they both on the same stick?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, but it comes up. But if you're looking for the song, in the first instance, you have to hit the French fry screen, and in the second one, you have to hit the audio button. Correct?
Correct. Correct. Exactly. Here's what I'm
Okay,
going to do. Let's see if this works.
And one other question.
Yep.
Of course, I have the USB stick and have a number of songs loaded on it, and I put it into my laptop, and I can. My dogs are barking. And get out of here. Get out of here, will you? If the songs that are preloaded onto the stick, I can play those on my laptop as well.
You bet. Actually, check this out. Let me try this. See if you guys can see it. Hopefully. Let's see. Yeah. Obviously, all computers look different, but this is my USB. I just put it into the computer here, and it comes up with over here. It just says whatever this is, disk, image. That's my USB. And what it does, the instrument automatically makes a file called Lowrey. And when I click on that, look, I have two different versions of the song here. So this one, you can see it says EMR. I don't know what that means, but it's an EX series. So it starts with an E song 001. And that's our Lowrey recording. If you look at this one, see how it ends with .mp3? So what I can do is I just click on that twice, and look, it kind of lets me rename it if I want to. Southern Nougats. Southern Nougats. There we go. So if I want to rename it, I could just do it that way. I can do this and just, I can attach to an email, or I can, stuff like that. Pretty easy. But what I usually recommend, if you want to do stuff like that and don't know how, ask the kids, ask the grandkids, ask us. Come by the store. We can help you one-on-one with it if you have a local store near you. So
Sean, you're frozen.
He's
I
frozen.
lost you.
He probably knows it.
file. But now you want to have an MP3 of that. Like, gosh darn, I did so... Oop, my internet's not so good, I guess. Is everybody still with me? Can you hear me? Okay, good.
Yes.
My internet just popped up and said, you're having problems. So, okay, good. So let's talk about how, like, say, oh, my recording was so good, I wish I had an MP3 of that, but I did it as the Lowrey file. Well, hey, you can actually turn it into that anytime. So that is in your feature menu. So let's look at our feature menu here. And I'm going to go to page 8. Page 8. And you should see at the top, which one do you think I touched to work with that music recorder? The one that says music recorder. Perfect. Now, I'm not even going to look at those top buttons because I don't care. I don't want to use those. What I want to do is this audio section here. I want to go over here and press that sync button. So what that's going to do is turn whatever selected song I have on the Lowrey files into an MP3. So before I do that, let's go here. Let's touch French fry, my French fry button. And here's where I want to look at what songs I have. I can go through them if you have a bunch of them. This one that I clearly titled Beyond the Sea, I'm going to touch that one. It's already good to go. Now I'm going to go back to that feature menu page here. Music recorder. I just want to turn that into an MP3, so I'm going to touch sync. and it comes up with the list of all your MP3s. Don't worry, it's not going to record over anything. So it always makes me think it's going to, but it doesn't. So it comes up with just a list of all the MP3s you have. Southern Nougat, that's the only one I had. But I'm going to add Beyond the Sea to that. Now keep in mind, just like when you're recording an actual song, it works the same way now. When I touch sync, it changed my screen on the left side. You can't see it there, but it says preparing to record now. And I just touch play. And now it's recording my Lowrey file version of that song. I'm not going to play the whole song because I want to make sure we keep moving along there. But if you notice, look, it added a new one. That's the MP3 version of my Lowrey song. Okay? So just keep in mind you have to do the same thing with the volume pedal. I think I forget if I said that or not. Put the volume all the way up on the foot and then turn this down because, like I said, it's working the same way as when I recorded Southern Nights here. The same kind of process, except I don't have to play. I'm just listening to it while it's recording it at the same time.
There's
Cool
a question
questions.
here.
Look at all these questions. Go ahead, Pamela, first.
Hi. What can you go through when you went from you got your song, you went in and to play to your screen to get your Lowrey saved song, and then from there, can you go through so I know how it knew that song to play to re-record as an MP3?
Gotcha. Yeah. So the hard part is I only have one song on there, so it's hard to tell.
Right.
But first thing I want to do is when I touch that French fry button and it brings up all my songs, say I want to turn a different one. Let's say I had 4 songs on here. If I want to turn number 3 into an MP3, I just want to have that selected. Okay?
Okay.
And what I did before is I just cleared the screen. I just said, okay, I've got it selected. Let's make that go away here. Go to my feature menu, music recorder. Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of pulling up different screens, but it's still kind of remembering what I did.
Okay.
So French fry. I should probably stop saying that because now everyone's going to be asking, where's that French fry button Sean was talking about? And Robert's going to be like, what are you talking about? Okay. So, yeah, that's where you want to select the song, find it, and then when you select it and pull this menu back up, you hit sync. And then it just kind of gets it ready to record anything, you know. So this is kind of cool. I think when you press play, I think you might even be able to play over it as well. So you can play 2 parts at the same time if you want to.
And then you hit play?
I wouldn't do that. So any questions? Let's see, we got Claire as well. Go ahead. Uh-oh, everybody's
I
frozen
wanted to
for
know
us.
why that name
Uh-oh.
didn't come over and it says Lowrey
know.
Audio 1 instead of Somewhere Beyond the Sea.
You still have to rename it.
He didn't-
froze up again.
Yes, he did not rename it. That's why.
Yeah, you have to rename it.
Yeah, but it was already in there as Beyond the Sea. So why wouldn't that come over?
Because it's an MP3 rather than a Lowrey file.
That's on your next organ.
The other,
So the name doesn't transfer.
the other thing that you ought to be aware of is that if you have a Rialto or Inspire, that sync button is right on the main screen. You don't have to go into a different screen. It's right on the main one. It's right over in the right-hand lower corner.
Right.
That's correct.
Correct.
Where is it on the aria?
In the screen.
Okay.
Shoni, I'm glad you took over there.
I know, and I have delivery walking in the door right now, so it's all yours, Jerome. Take over.
Okay. He was at the sync part. I think he was almost finishing up there. I think he lost his internet, but you'll find that when you're recording stuff, you start having fun with it. Okay. When I first started recording on the Lowry product, it wasn't. I had to get used to the language first, like 33 and all of the little well, what they call what in the army they call them nomenclatures. So if you're concerned about some of those little initials and stuff, just give us a call. We can explain it to you. You practice on recording just like you're practicing on your music. Okay. So sometimes you have to go over it and make mistakes. That's what the USB is for. You can always erase it and go back and do it again. So don't mind that part. Okay. Any other questions out there while she's going to get delivery and John is frozen? I hope I can answer the question. Go ahead if you got a question. I'm going to put you on gallery view so I can see everybody. All right. All right. Is that Claire? Claire was waving your hand.
I think I got it answered. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else out there? I see another question, Margaret. Margaret, I think she was adjusting the camera. Anybody else there? Can you turn up a little bit? I can't hear you, whoever that was. Anybody else got the hands up?
I think Jan has her hand up, but she's not unmuted.
I'm here now. I was waiting for you to call on me, Jerome.
All right, go on.
Okay, he said, when you're changing the file, you touch music recorder, you hit the FF, then you hit sync. The screen will show preparing to record. Then mine cut out. You press play after that?
Prepared to record? Yes, you hit play after that. You're right.
And that's what starts the recording?
Right. Then you start playing. Then you start whatever you had on the Lowry files will record to the. You will be syncing it then to the MP3 files. All right.
Okay.
And once you finish, you hit the stop button.
Okay. Thank you.
But you have to rename it. Somebody say, "How come the name didn't transfer?" Not on this technology yet.
What happened?
Joni's back. I'll let her take over her duties. You back, Joni?
How we doing, Jerome?
I'm scared. I wasn't planning to take over.
Hold on, I got Sean on the line.
Okay.
I got another thing to say. This is Ken.
Hey, Ken. Go ahead on.
Are you listening?
Yeah, we're listening, Ken. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead on with your question.
One of the things that I noticed is when you record the first time and you're using your volume variation to play the song, that's recorded. And then if you do a conversion of that, you don't have to put the pedal all the way down. It's going to record exactly your variations that you had on the MP3.
Yes, you're right. He should be teaching this class. Ken, are you?
Well, I've done about probably 70 plus recordings.
Okay, good for you.
So I learned some of the steps the hard way.
Oh, good. And that's how you learn it.
And I also, for anybody that wants to put the name of the song in the recording, when you hit in the MP3 conversion, just hit the play button and then hit a no chord right away and say the name of the song or whatever you want to say about it, and then hit your chord for the song.
That's a smart way to do it. I like that.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. I really like that. I just learned something myself. That's a good thing to do, all right? Introducing your song, a little story behind the song. That's a good way to do it. Any other questions there?
Looks like we have Pamela's iPad. Oops, there's Sean.
I've already asked my question. Thanks, Joni.
All right. Yeah, Joan is still on. She had delivery.
Hello?
Yeah. Let me mute myself.
Yes, we saw that. That's okay. I'm covering for you, and Jerome got on as well, so we're doing it together. Yep. Okay. Not your fault. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bontrager's still in the office there.
Huh?
He's still in the office.
Where?
All his stuff.
No, that's mine.
The board's up there at Bontrager.
Oh, yeah. I don't care about that.
From October of last year. Now we don't get awards.
Jerome, are you there?
I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. So it
Yeah.
looks like we have a few more questions.
Okay.
Scooter, you want to go ahead?
I have an Inspire and I'm looking in my manual. God forbid it's very confusing, but to merge, record an audio file, it's different than what you all said. So if anybody has an Inspire, you need to look at what you do in the book because you have to hold two buttons at the same time according to this book. I've not done it, so I don't know for sure.
So what store are you affiliated with, dear?
Sun City.
All right. She probably need to come in and you can show her, sometimes it's a little bit better when you actually can show them on the organ.
Yeah.
Okay, so just make an appointment to come in with somebody over there in Sun City. That is Sun City, Florida, right? Not Sun City, Arizona.
That's correct, and I am the Sun City. Okay, Carolyn.
Joni? Whoops, sorry, Joni.
Carolyn, you have to unmute yourself,
Yes,
hon.
Carolyn, unmute yourself.
No, okay. All right, Joni, wouldn't it be a suggestion that anybody that does any type of recording to whatever book they're using, paper, that they indicate on their paperwork, because there are so many different books that they may make notations in it, and when they go to use it at a later date, they won't be able to, they'll say, well, I didn't do that. Where is some of the notations that I did before? So wouldn't it be advisable to put some of that information at the time they are doing their recording?
Absolutely, yes. And maybe we should do an organizational session.
We have so many books, and every version, something may be different. And this way, and even the date I put down, so, and the USB stick that I'm using, because I do a lot of presets. So I number them, and then I know exactly where I'm going to without wasting a lot of time.
Very good. Thank you for that great suggestion.
You're welcome.
I got another suggestion that you can do. If you want to do any of the advanced chords, like the 4-finger or 5-finger chords, you can record those and then play them back.
For what reason?
I guess to see whether you played them right.
You're going to have to unmute yourself. Okay, Jerome, it looks like we have one more. Pamela?
No, you answered my question.
Oh, okay, great.
I'm fine. Thanks, Joni.
Okay, Joni, I have one announcement for the whole group. The Christmas workshop today will not be recorded for YouTube, okay? So you probably want to make sure you be on for that. It's going to be the John Luke and #1 team today. What I mean is it's going to be Jerome and Robert doing the Christmas workshop today. Okay, so, and it won't be posted on YouTube. We have to watch our copyright laws here. So you probably want to be on for that. Okay.
Looks like you already got an audience there waiting for you, Jerome. That's great.
Huh?
Yeah,
It looks like
should
you already got an
definitely-
audience waiting for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like Monday Night Football, you know.
Yeah.
They had pictures of people in the audience in the stadium.
Yeah. Well, sorry about my technical difficulties, everybody, and I guess I'll end here. I think they answered all your questions, hopefully. So if you have any other questions, contact your local store or come see us or send a letter or pigeon and let us know if you have any other questions or need any help. And have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
You too, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Joni.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thanks all.
Thanks.
Hey, Al.